The Rock thought it was just a joke, calling Steven Seagal just a movie cowboy. But some men don't need to answer with words. What happens next will shock the world. It was supposed to be just another lighthearted media moment. The lights were bright, the crowd was loud, and The Rock was in peak form, smiling, joking, completely in control. Fresh off a blockbuster movie release, he sat comfortably on stage during a live interview, muscles relaxed, confidence radiating. Every answer landed with laughter. Every sentence felt effortless. Then the host leaned forward and smirked. "So, Dwayne," he said, "there's a debate online right now. People are arguing about who's really tough in Hollywood. One name that keeps coming up is Steven Seagal. What do you think about him?" The Rock chuckled. He didn't hesitate. "Well," he said casually, leaning back in his chair, "Steven Seagal? Come on, man. He's just a movie cowboy." The crowd erupted in laughter. The Rock shrugged, grinning. "No disrespect, but movies are movies. Real combat, real toughness. That's a different world." The clip didn't even last 10 seconds. But 10 seconds was all it took. Within minutes, the moment was clipped, posted, and shared across social media. Captions screamed, "The Rock calls out Steven Seagal. Just a movie cowboy." Fans flooded the comments. Some laughed it off. Others defended Seagal fiercely. Memes started spreading. Reaction videos popped up everywhere. The Rock didn't think twice about it. To him, it was harmless banter, a confident superstar having fun in front of cameras. He waved to the crowd, finished the interview, and walked off stage to thunderous applause, completely unaware of the ripple he had just created. But somewhere far away from the lights and laughter, that same clip played on a quiet screen. No crowd, no jokes, no smiles. Steven Seagal watched in silence. He didn't laugh. He didn't comment. He didn't respond online. He simply replayed the clip once more, and then turned the screen off. What The Rock didn't realize was this. Some men don't argue. Some men don't shout. Some men don't fight with words. And when Steven Seagal finally decided to respond, it wouldn't be with a microphone. It would be in the ring. The clip reached Steven Seagal late at night. No press, no entourage, no cameras rolling. Just a quiet room, dimly lit, and a phone resting on a wooden table. Steven Seagal didn't scroll through comments. He didn't check reactions. He didn't care about memes or hashtags. He simply watched the clip once, then again. Just a movie cowboy. The words hung in the air longer than the video itself. Seagal's face remained calm, unreadable. Anyone expecting anger would have been disappointed. He had lived long enough to know that loud reactions were for insecure men. Real confidence didn't need noise. He locked the phone and leaned back in his chair. For decades, people had underestimated him. They saw the films, the slow movements, the calm expressions. They assumed everything they needed to know. They were always wrong. Across the internet, the debate was exploding. One side laughed it off. "Come on, it's The Rock. He's built different. Seagal is old-school Hollywood. All movie magic." The other side pushed back hard. "You don't train like that and survive like that if it's fake. Some skills don't disappear with age." Clips of Seagal's old interviews resurfaced. Stories from stuntmen. Whispers from martial arts circles. People who knew. Still, the louder voice belonged to The Rock. And The Rock was enjoying it. Backstage at another event, someone mentioned the growing reaction online. He laughed, waving it off. "Man, people are too serious these days." It was a joke. But jokes have weight when millions are listening. The Rock scrolled through his phone, amused by the chaos. Team Rock, Team Seagal, polls, debates, reaction videos. Then he smirked. "Guess I struck a nerve." He didn't see it as disrespect. He saw it as dominance. Meanwhile, Steven Seagal made a call. Not to the media, not to social platforms. To someone who understood quiet challenges. A conversation followed, short, controlled, deliberate. No trash talk. No threats. Just a suggestion. "What if," Seagal said calmly, "we settle this in a way people understand?" Days later, a vague statement surfaced online. No names mentioned. Just a few words posted by a well-known promoter. Sometimes words deserve answers. Discussions are ongoing for a private exhibition. The internet exploded again. Everyone knew what it meant. The Rock saw the headline during a workout. Sweat dripping, music blasting, adrenaline high. He laughed out loud. A private exhibition, he said. That's cute. But this time, he didn't dismiss it completely. For the first time, he paused. Not because he was afraid, but because the tone was different. There was no insult, no defense, no ego, just confidence. Later that night, The Rock addressed it casually in a short clip. Smiling, relaxed. I've got nothing but respect for legends, he said. But let's be real. There's movie fighting, and then there's reality. That was all Steven Seagal needed. No public reply, no interview, no rebuttal. Just one quiet confirmation sent behind the scenes. The challenge was real, and it was happening. The internet split clean down the middle. Some people were excited. Some were skeptical. Some warned The Rock not to underestimate a man who never tried to impress anyone. Others laughed it off. But one thing was certain now. This wasn't trash talk anymore. It was an ego clash, loud confidence versus silent certainty. And soon, one of them would learn a lesson they'd never forget. The confirmation came quietly. No press conference. No flashy announcement. No dramatic call-out video. Just a single message that traveled through the right hands and landed exactly where it needed to. The challenge was on. When The Rock heard the final details, he smiled. The kind of smile that came naturally to someone who had lived his entire life under bright lights and louder crowds. To him, this wasn't pressure. This was familiar territory. A ring, he said casually. Exhibition rules. He nodded before the explanation even finished. Let's do it. To The Rock, this wasn't about proving toughness. It was about confidence, momentum, image. He had built his career on physical dominance, charisma, and an unshakable belief in himself. Wrestling rings, film sets, stadiums filled with chanting fans. Pressure had never been his enemy. Training intensified almost immediately. Early mornings, heavy lifts, conditioning circuits that left trainers shaking their heads. Clips leaked online of The Rock flipping massive tires, throwing thunderous punches into pads, sweat pouring down as he smiled through the pain. Man's a beast, people commented. This isn't even close. Seagal's in trouble. The Rock didn't trash talk openly. He didn't need to. His confidence did the talking. Every rep, every workout clip sent the same message. I'm ready. Meanwhile, Steven Seagal went the opposite direction. No cameras. No gym selfies. No hype. While The Rock's training dominated timelines, Seagal disappeared almost entirely. No interviews. No responses. No reactions to the growing storm online. People started mocking that too. He's hiding. He knows he messed up. Too old. Too slow. But behind closed doors, Seagal trained the way he always had. Quietly, deliberately, efficiently. No wasted motion. No excess. Just repetition, control, and precision. Those who saw him train didn't speak about it publicly. And those who understood why didn't need to. As the event drew closer, media outlets framed it as entertainment. A clash of eras. A spectacle. Strength versus nostalgia. The Rock embraced it. During a brief media stop, he was asked directly, "Are you underestimating Steven Seagal?" He laughed. "Not underestimating," he said smoothly. "Just being realistic. Movies are one thing. Real competition is another." The words weren't cruel, but they carried weight. Seagal heard about the comment later that night. He didn't respond. He simply adjusted his training schedule. The venue details were finalized. A controlled, private ring setup, limited audience, no theatrics. No script. No choreography. Just rules, referees, and reality. Suddenly, the tone shifted. Fans who had laughed earlier started hesitating. Experts debated quietly. Martial artists stopped joking altogether. Something about the silence felt heavy. On the night before the event, The Rock posted one final clip. Short, confident, smiling. "Tomorrow," he said, "we settle the noise." Millions watched it. Steven Seagal didn't post anything. No countdown. No statement. Just silence. The morning of the event arrived without spectacle. No red carpets. No cheering crowds outside. Just tension hanging thick in the air. Two men. Two reputations. Two completely different energies. One fueled by applause. The other by stillness. As both prepared separately, one truth became unavoidable. This was no longer about jokes. No longer about interviews. No longer about pride online. The challenge had been accepted. And once they stepped into the ring, there would be no editing, no retakes, no excuses, only reality. And reality has a way of humbling even the most confident men. The day of the event arrived without spectacle. No flashing cameras outside the venue. No screaming fans pressed against barricades. No red carpet. Just a quiet, secured location with a regulation ring set at the center, clean, bright, and unforgiving. Inside, a limited audience took their seats. Trainers, officials, a few media insiders, and people who understood one thing very clearly. This wasn't a movie scene. The Rock arrived first. Relaxed, smiling, joking with staff. He wore simple training gear, headphones around his neck, shoulders loose. He greeted people warmly, shaking hands, cracking jokes like it was just another appearance. Anyone watching him would think this was already over. "Man looks comfortable," someone whispered. "He's not even nervous." And why would he be? The Rock had lived his entire life under pressure. Rings, stadiums, live television. Adrenaline was his comfort zone. He bounced lightly on his feet, shadowboxed for a moment, then laughed with his trainer. Across the room, Steven Seagal arrived without a word. No entourage, no smile, no performance. He walked in calmly, dressed simply, his movements slow and deliberate. He didn't scan the room, didn't acknowledge the murmurs, didn't respond to curious glances. He sat down, closed his eyes, and breathed. The contrast was impossible to ignore. Some people exchanged looks. "That's it," someone whispered. "He doesn't even look ready." Others shook their heads quietly. Underestimation spread like a virus. "He's too calm. He's too slow. This isn't a movie set." The Rock noticed Seagal across the room and nodded politely. No hostility, no tension, just confidence, bordering on dismissal. To him, Seagal looked exactly like what the internet said he was, a legend of the past, stepping into a present that had moved on. The officials reviewed the rules again. No scripts, no choreography, controlled, but real. As warm-ups continued, The Rock moved with explosive energy, stretching, bouncing, rolling his shoulders. The crowd's attention followed him naturally. Seagal, meanwhile, barely moved. No warm-up routine anyone could recognize. No drills. No shadowboxing. Just stillness. It made people uncomfortable. Silence has a way of doing that. Minutes before the start, whispers grew louder. "I think this ends fast. Rock's strength alone will overwhelm him." Why did Seagal even agree to this? Then someone leaned forward and said quietly, "Or maybe we don't understand what we're watching." The bell had not rung yet, but judgment already had. The Rock stepped toward the ring, confidence rolling off him effortlessly. He climbed in, stretched against the ropes, waved lightly at the small crowd. Seagal followed moments later. No theatrics, no acknowledgement, just a calm step through the ropes. They stood across from each other now. Power versus presence. Noise versus silence. Expectation versus mystery. For the first time, the room truly fell quiet. Even The Rock stopped smiling for a second. Not fear, just curiosity. Something about the way Seagal stood, balanced, centered, unhurried, didn't match the image people had painted online. The referee spoke. Final instructions. Both men nodded. The Rock rolled his shoulders once more, confidence fully intact. Steven Seagal didn't move at all. And in that moment, just before the bell, many in the room began to realize something unsettling. Underestimation isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's the mistake you make when the person in front of you doesn't feel the need to prove anything. Comment honest. The bell rang once. Sharp, clean, final. The Rock moved first. Explosive, confident, exactly as everyone expected. He stepped forward with authority, cutting the distance fast, shoulders squared, eyes locked in. The energy in the room shifted immediately. This was his world. Power, presence, momentum. A few people nodded, as if to say, "Here it comes." Steven Seagal didn't retreat. He didn't rush either. He simply adjusted his stance. That was the first moment something felt off. The Rock threw a probing strike, Not reckless, not wild. Just enough to test reactions. A strong, fast movement meant to assert control. But Seagal wasn't where the strike expected him to be. He shifted, not back, not sideways, but inside the movement. Subtle, minimal, efficient. The strike missed by inches. The Rock paused. Not long, just a fraction of a second. But in high-level combat, fractions matter. The crowd leaned forward. The Rock tried again, this time with more commitment. A combination meant to overwhelm, power stacked on power. The kind of pressure that usually broke opponents down quickly. Seagal didn't block. He redirected. A slight turn of the wrist. A small step. A shift of balance. Suddenly, The Rock felt something he hadn't expected to feel so early. Resistance. Not strength for strength. Control. The Rock pulled back, eyebrows tightening just slightly. He reset his feet, posture still confident, but his breathing changed. He circled now, measuring. Seagal followed calmly. No chase. No rush. Just presence. Another exchange. The Rock came in harder this time, using reach and mass, forcing engagement. The crowd murmured. This was what they came to see. Then it happened. In one smooth motion, Seagal stepped into the attack, caught the momentum, and redirected it downward. Not violently. Not dramatically. Precisely. The Rock stumbled half a step. Gasps rippled through the room. He recovered instantly, too experienced to fall, but the message had landed. This wasn't scripted. This wasn't luck. This was something else. The Rock's expression changed. Not fear. Focus. He adjusted tactics, lowered his center, tried to impose weight and pressure. He pressed forward, testing angles, forcing contact. Seagal responded with economy. Every movement had purpose. Every step removed options. It became clear now, this wasn't about speed or power. It was about timing, balance, reading intent before it fully formed. The Rock landed a solid strike, clean enough to draw a reaction from the crowd. Power still mattered. Strength still counted. But Seagal absorbed it calmly. No panic. No anger. Just adjustment. Seconds later, The Rock felt his arm caught mid-motion. Not trapped. Guided. His balance shifted. His footing compromised. For the first time in the match, he had to break contact himself. The room went quiet. Not silent, but different. Respect had entered the space. The Rock backed away, breathing heavier now, eyes locked, mind racing. He nodded once, almost unconsciously. Acknowledgement. He came forward again, smarter this time. Less force. More patience. But patience was Seagal's territory. Each exchange chipped away at assumptions the crowd had brought with them. The myth of just a movie cowboy began to crumble in real time. This wasn't dominance yet, but it was control. And control changes everything. The Rock wasn't losing, not yet. But he was learning. And learning, in the middle of a fight, is expensive. As the round continued, one truth became unavoidable. This wasn't going to be quick. It wasn't going to be easy. And it definitely wasn't going the way most people expected. Reality had entered the ring. And it wasn't wearing a smile. The pace changed. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. But unmistakably. The Rock was still strong. Still dangerous. Still every bit the physical force people expected. But now, every movement carried calculation. He wasn't performing anymore. He was adapting. Across from him, Steven Seagal looked exactly the same as he had from the start. Calm, balanced, unrushed. The Rock stepped in again, this time attempting to control the space, using his size to cut angles, to corner, to limit movement. It was a smart adjustment. Experience speaking. For a moment, it worked. Seagal was forced closer. The distance shrank. The crowd held its breath. Then Seagal moved. Not away. Through. He caught the forward pressure at its source, the shift of weight, the commitment of balance, and redirected it with terrifying simplicity. One moment the Rock was advancing. The next, his posture broke just enough to matter. Seagal didn't force anything. He let gravity do the work. The Rock dropped to one knee. It wasn't a slam. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't brutal. But it was undeniable. The room exploded with sound. Gasps, stunned murmurs, disbelief rippling across every face. The Rock pushed back up immediately, pride and power surging, But the message was clear now. This wasn't about strength. This was about understanding. The referee watched closely. Everything was clean, controlled, real. The Rock reset again, jaw tight now, eyes sharper than before. No smile, no showmanship, just resolve. He charged once more, not reckless, but determined. A man refusing to be humbled quietly. Seagal met him halfway. What happened next felt almost unfair. In a sequence so smooth it barely registered at first, Seagal intercepted the movement, controlled the arm, disrupted the base, and applied pressure at precisely the wrong angle. The Rock froze. Not in pain, in realization. He felt it, the complete absence of leverage. The sensation of power being irrelevant. For a brief, silent moment, he understood something most people never experience. He was not in control. The referee stepped closer. Seagal held the position, not tightening, not escalating, just holding reality in place. The Rock tapped. Once. Clear. Honest. Undeniable. The bell rang. And just like that, it was over. Silence swallowed the room. No cheers. No boos. Just stunned respect. Seagal released immediately and stepped back. No celebration. No acknowledgement of victory. He simply nodded once, as if confirming what he already knew. The Rock sat up slowly, breathing hard, sweat dripping, eyes fixed on the canvas for a second longer than usual. Then he stood. He walked straight to Seagal. No hesitation. No excuses. He extended his hand. Seagal took it. The handshake wasn't for the cameras. It wasn't for the audience. It was between two men who now understood each other perfectly. The Rock nodded again, deeper this time. Respect. Real respect. Later, when people would ask what went wrong, The Rock wouldn't talk about age, rules, or surprise. He would talk about something else entirely. Underestimation. Not of strength, not of skill, but of experience. Because sometimes, the price you pay isn't injury or loss. It's the realization that confidence without humility always comes due. Comment yes or no. The video of the match went online almost immediately. Short clips first. The bell's decisive moment. The Rock tapping. Seagal's calm, commanding presence. Within hours, it was everywhere. Social media exploded. Fans shared, commented, argued, and reacted. Memes went viral. Hashtags trended. News outlets ran stories, each trying to capture the magnitude of what had happened. This isn't just a fight, one headline read. Respect earned in the ring, another declared. The Rock himself didn't hide his respect. A day later, he posted a statement on Instagram. His signature smile was gone, replaced by a look of quiet humility. Some lessons can't be learned in movies. Tonight, I learned one in real time. Respect where it's due. Always. The post went viral instantly. Millions liked it, thousands commented, and fans praised his honesty. Even critics softened. Steven Seagal, true to form, didn't gloat. No interviews, no posturing, no celebratory videos. He simply acknowledged the respect silently, understanding that action speaks louder than words. Meanwhile, the internet had a field day analyzing every second of the fight. Martial artists dissected techniques. Commentators debated strategy. Fans marveled at Seagal's precision and The Rock's adaptability. The lesson was clear. Confidence without respect can be dangerous. Power without understanding can fail you. Humility, patience, and awareness often triumph where arrogance assumes victory. The Rock received a flood of messages from fans and fighters alike. Many praised him for owning the loss, for acknowledging Seagal's skill. Others celebrated Seagal for demonstrating mastery without need for theatrics. Even those who had been staunchly Team Rock admitted that the outcome had shifted perspectives. Across the globe, millions watched the full fight clip, shared reaction videos, and debated the lessons from it. People weren't just entertained, they were inspired. For The Rock, the experience became more than a fight. It was a reminder that respect isn't optional. That even a superstar with years of experience can still be humbled. That preparation, skill, and quiet mastery can outweigh raw power. For Steven Seagal, it reinforced a principle he had lived by for decades. True mastery doesn't need recognition. It doesn't need noise. It needs patience, precision, and timing. In the days that followed, both men received invitations for talks, panels, and interviews, not about movies, not about fame, but about respect, discipline, and the lessons of humility in competitive environments. And everywhere, the conversation circled back to one point. A single moment, a quiet acknowledgement, and a willingness to face reality head-on can change perceptions worldwide. Fans commented from Tokyo, London, Manila, New York, and countless cities in between. People tagged friends, shared personal stories, and debated principles of respect and humility. The viral discussion extended beyond the fight. It became a life lesson for anyone watching. Finally, the story landed on your channel's doorstep. The perfect example of a viral narrative combining drama, suspense, and a moral everyone could relate to. The world had witnessed a clash of legends, but the takeaway was universal. If you believe that no one should be underestimated and that respect and humility matter more than power, type respect in the comments and subscribe for more inspiring stories like this one. The fight had ended in the ring, but its lesson traveled far beyond it. Some learned it with awe, some with humility, some with a quiet reminder that real mastery never brags. It simply shows up, does its work, and leaves an impact that lasts. And that is exactly what happened that day.